It's a nice view from this section of the cemetery here in Glendale, California. All those houses over in the hills. It's a nice day out here, minus the smog. And it's a good day to do a grave that's a little bit controversial. And that grave is of one controversial figure. His name is Robert Beck. Used to be Robert Lee Maupin. And of course, the world knows him as the infamous Iceberg Slim of infamous Pimp fame, if you will. Not really sure what I'm going to say in this video. We're going to walk to his final resting place. And I'm going to talk very briefly about his book and his life being an abuser of women and a sex trafficker, which is what we call it nowadays anyways. You know, when I do these videos, I always try to have reverence for the dead, especially when it comes to victims of crime. And sometimes you guys know that I don't always have respect for the graves of the people that I visit, because sometimes those people are very, very bad, very, very bad people. But like I've always said, at the end of the day, everybody has a story. And so does one Iceberg Slim. Now, when I was in jail, this is 2002, and I, at this time, never have I heard of this Iceberg Slim. So I'm looking at the book shelf. They change the books out in the dormitory every week. And so I see a book entitled Pimp. That's all it is. It just says Pimp. And I read the back cover, and it basically gives a quick synopsis of the book. It says that this was written by a man who, for about 30 some odd years, he was a pimp. He was a pimp in and around the Chicago, Milwaukee, did some traveling, that general region. So I picked it up and I read the book. Now, I can say this for the book. Number one, the book is, I've never read a book that has the word whore so many times printed within its pages than that book. And the graphic nature and the language that was used in that book, even for me, not being too big of a person that uses foul language, only when I feel I need to, like if I'm angry, which is often, but on this channel, that is not the place for that. I was a little bit taken aback because of the graphic language that the book uses to describe his life. So Robert Lee Maupin was born August 4th, 1918 in Chicago, Illinois. And he didn't grow up poor. Now, he grew up in a single parent household, but it's not like his mom was destitute. His mom had like this little beauty salon, and they had moved to Milwaukee. And I'm not going to go into his life just because it wasn't terribly interesting, but I think that how the world sees this guy is interesting enough to where I wanted to do a quick story. And when he was a kid, he basically would see a lot of these sex workers, these prostitutes. They would go in to his mom's beauty salon, and they would be driven around by these pimps, and they had flashy clothes. They had a lot of money, nice cars. It's the 1930s. And again, it's not like this guy is poor, but he's like a lot of kids today. They're just looking to make a fast buck without working too hard. I mean, he could have easily had a college education. When you listen to him speak in interviews, you'd be surprised to hear that this guy is well spoken. It's very surprising to hear what his life as a pimp was like. I mean, he did attend Tuskegee University, but he got kicked out for selling bootleg liquor. Like I said, this guy wants to make fast money. He originally got put in jail or prison when he was like 17 or 18 years old. That was the first time where his life of crime would start, where he convinced a girl that he was dating to, as he would call it in his book, whore herself out. And so began a life of crime where this guy would mentally and physically abuse these women that he called his whores. And if a woman so much as came back to his motel room, wherever he was staying at, and she didn't have the money that she was supposed to have, he would beat the living crap out of her. And he had no problems at all doing this. Now, being that it was almost 25 years ago that I read the book, from what I remember, it wasn't like in the book he was glorifying what he did, but he also came to my opinion that he damn sure wasn't sorry for what he did. I mean, the book is really matter of fact. And he claims that every story in the book is true, but the names of the people he changed to protect their identity. So over the next 30 some odd years, this guy would be in and out of prison for anything related to pimping and pandering. And this guy made no qualms about doing what he did, making really, really good money and just being used to that kind of lifestyle. Now, he would also have random encounters with rival pimps, him fighting with other guys to get a girl back that another pimp stole from him. And it's just basically a lifetime wrought with abuse, drug abuse, physical abuse. The disrespectful nature that he talks about women almost leads you to believe, and I'm not a psychologist, but this guy has a very negative opinion of women. Now, I don't know if that was derived from his mom. I don't know what she did to him. I think he said in an interview that he was mad at his mom because she had I think married a guy with the last name Beck, and he actually, really loved this guy. So she basically, I guess they got a divorce, or they split up, and she took him out of his house, and that he was very angry at her for doing that. And he loved this man and revered him so much that he actually changed his last name to Beck. Now, the end of his pimping career would take place sometime in the mid-60s. I think by this time now he's sitting in jail in Chicago, and he's coming to the realization that, he's too old for this. At this time now, I mean, he's about 40, in his mid-40s, and he's unable to physically or mentally do this anymore, because you got up-and-coming pimps who are going to be bigger and badder and stronger and more dangerous and more apt to want to kill someone than he is. So he decides that he says screw it all, and he packs up his stuff and he moves out to California. He moves to Watts, which is south of Los Angeles. And later on, he would meet a woman who already had a child. They get together. They would end up having 3 children. And this woman, was her name Betty? I don't remember off the top of my head, but she, knew about his past because he would talk about it, and she convinced him to write a book about it. And that's what he did. So he got with a publisher, and he wrote the book Pimp, which basically talks about his exploits. He used the name Iceberg Slim, but that's not what they called him. That wasn't his real street name. His real street name was Kavanaugh Slim. And they called him Slim because, well, obviously he has a slim frame. He would go on to write several books. His second book, Trick Baby, which I'm not going to lie, I probably will read when given time. It's a weird story about a black guy, but he's mixed, so he looks like he's white. And He's a white guy, but he's black. I don't know. Something like that. And he moves in within the whites and the blacks and stuff like that. I don't know if this character's made up, but I tell you what, even though he sold millions of copies of his books, he never really made any real money off of it, especially his first book, Pimp. He did, however, sell the rights to Trick Baby to be made into a motion picture by Universal Pictures. They gave him $25,000. And with that money, he was able to move his family out of Watts and up to the Hollywood area. And eventually they split up. She got tired of his crap or whatever, you know, because once you're an abuser of women, you're always going to be an abuser of women. So this is the final resting place of one Robert Maupin Beck, Iceberg Slim. Truth still shining down. And yeah, I don't know, like I felt that with making this video that I wasn't trying to be like disrespectful, but just the whole story of him and the whole thing, the whole pimping thing, and how, you know, Hollywood tried to romanticize this idiocy. I'm not down with that. And you know, it's so funny that this guy's books have actually been taught in certain college courses around the country. I don't know, would it be urban studies or something like that, but he never really came across as being sorry for what he did. So I don't know, I don't remember that part. So anyways, nonetheless, everybody has a story. Rest in peace to Iceberg Slim. Okay guys, we're out of here. I'm gonna go visit one more grave, and then we're gonna head about 2 miles down the road. I gotta finish another video that I started about 4 days ago. And we're gonna go on to the next story. So without further ado, I'll catch up with you in the next video. Peace out.